Are we live? Okay. Well, wait a second and get it ready on here. Hello, everyone. Let's see who's on here. Hey, Adrian. I haven't been live for so long on YouTube.
You're always live.
I've never done a YouTube live. This is my first one.
Oh, really? If you go through StreamYard, you don't have to go through the YouTube one. I've only done it once on YouTube. Like through them. I don't know what the difference is, but
What do you like that?
yeah. Let me wait for some people to get on here. Hello, everyone. People's gonna watch it back and be like, "Who is she talking to?" So,
some crazy lady.
Yeah, I feel crazy everywhere I go. I'm telling you. Well, they try to make me feel crazy. I'm like, oh, I'm crazy. So we have Cassidy Ray today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you on here. Let me
Excited
see.
to be here.
Let me get.
We love all things paranormal,
right?
Yes.
And there's like she goes with me to a lot of like. There's a few places I take her, and she'll be like, then she'll talk crap to him too. Sometimes I'm like, stop.
What does that mean?
She'll be like, don't look at me like that, or we're gonna fight. I'm like, no, don't do that. Hey, Bud Fowles, how are you?
I'm joking around my phone.
We need the kids with the spunky attitude. That's how I was. Speaking my mind my whole life.
All right, scoot over.
I'm sitting right here. I'm sitting right here. I'm your bodyguard.
Oh yeah. I got this.
I'm your bodyguard.
So, are you open to just talk about whatever? Is that?
Let's talk about all the weird stuff. I'll try to keep my cussing to a minimum since there's the children around.
See, when she was little, like I didn't want her to repeat me, so I would say like really mom words with it, you know, and like I still catch myself doing that. I'll be like with a bunch of adults, and I'm like, "Daggone," or you know, like something silly, or like,
yeah,
I don't know. It depends. We got kind of scared about
Your mom.
2:00 this morning at a haunted house. One of my friends got shoved, and I saw her shoulders go back, and so
oh my God.
So I gotta go in, and I'm like, "Look, you got to go. I'm not afraid of you." I'll talk to him like that too. That's probably where she gets it from.
Yeah, you talk that.
Like I really want to them, but if I have to talk like that, then they've done something to really to
I'm
aggravate
stern
me.
with them. If I don't want the energy in, I'm like, no ifs, ands, or buts. You're out. Go.
Right.
And then I just bring in my whole spiritual team in there, like kind of like a whole bodyguard lining up, like. Move.
Yes, she may be watching, or she'll be on here in a little bit. The lady who owns the house, and it is so haunted. There's so much stuff. But then we brought some dolls in that had a couple attachments, and
yeah.
But see,
I love that. Wait, where are you guys? Where are you guys located at? I love watching all your videos.
I'm in West Virginia.
West Virginia, okay. There's a lot of haunted stuff around there.
Yes, Lake Shawnee is probably one of the most haunted places I've been. I mean, granted, I've seen ghosts that out to eat, like it's wherever,
right.
But that there was so many dead people at that place that it just like I don't even know if I'd go back right now. Like it was too much.
Yeah,
they were like, and it wasn't just dead people. It was like creatures and stuff that wants to kill people and drown them in the water. And these ancient, and it was so much and like so many different things. I was like, it was an overload for sure.
I thank you for like also talking about all that stuff on your platform, because a lot of people think it's literally just love and light and all these little fairies and butterflies. I'm like, you don't even know the half of it.
I mean, luckily we have nice fairies around here, but there's some mean ones too.
Yeah.
Like when people are making fairy gardens, I'm like, you better make sure it's okay. Don't put something else.
Yeah. Fairies are someone like, to me, they're intimidating. I'm scared of them a little bit.
I've heard really bad stories about them from people, but the ones that we have, like I don't know if you've seen them. I posted, they're probably pretty far down on my TikTok, but we actually have videos of them just playing on the cars, running up and down the road. I mean, those ones are not like, they're really sweet. Yeah. Like they're fine, but there's some that I don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
I saw this thing in my woods one night and it looked like Gollum. I don't even know what it is. It's like 3 feet tall and white and like its face is blurry, but it's just, and it's just weird looking. And it was like it peeks out from the trees and looks at me, but it won't talk to me. I don't know what it is.
Does your little one get scared of this stuff or what?
She saw her first one when she was like barely walking. So it kind of runs in the family anyways.
It's nice to have a mom who is in tune and knows what is happening. So
Hey,
you're
Lou,
not like,
there's Lou. She's
Hey,
the one who owns
Lou.
the haunted house.
"Hey."
See, when I was a kid, in a sense, I think my mom just didn't want to talk about it. She's probably watching this too. But she was like, you know, it was kind of like, oh, it's in your head. It's just your imagination. Go to bed, that kind of stuff, which I knew it wasn't. But then, like, as I got older, I found out that, like, you know, there was one instance where she was saying that her grandma, which I never met, she passed before I died, would go into a bedroom and take sticks, and she would start chanting and come back out, and the sticks are twisted. And I'm like, so this has been going on all this time.
Yeah. I know. My whole life, my thing was, my room was the room that the lights would always turn on and off when I was asleep at night. Like, I'd literally wake up multiple times a night with the lights on, turn them off, and it was only me. When I went to college, it never happened when anyone stayed in the room. Nothing ever happened. So they're like, it's just you. I would wake up sometimes with, like, drawings on my feet, like markers on my feet. Unexplainable till this day. I have siblings. And I'm always like, guys, like, seriously, now you can tell me that we're older. Like, was it you guys drawing on my feet? They're like, why would we ever draw on your feet? Like, no. So I had all this scary stuff happen to me my whole life, too. And then I think I went to my first psychic medium, and she was like, all that stuff that happened in your house, she goes, it's not your house, it's you. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
See, that's kind of like the conversation I had, like, with my neighbor up the road who has, like, there's fairies in the haunted house that I filmed that a few times. She's in here now, but, like, I asked her, like, after I started filming there, and I'm like, so has every place you've lived in been haunted? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, it's you. Like, she has ability to do these things, and they know that.
Hello.
I know sometimes, of course, they latch to homes and they latch to material things sometimes, but often it's the person carrying it, and so it's like, it's really you. Yeah.
And, you know, I wish I had, like, but, you know, everything happens for a reason. Like, even the crazy stuff I've been through before I even knew what to do with my ability, like, I learned a lot from it, you know, and there was an experience I had, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And it was like this Facebook group that I found, and somebody, I think he was a shaman. He was, like, in the Midwest, and he messaged me, and he was like, here, and it was simple. It wasn't like anything drug out. He's like, protect yourself. He's like, meditate, tell it to leave. And he's like, you know, he told me that when you have abilities, he said, imagine like you're holding a flashlight in the dark and all the bugs come to it. He's like, that's what they do. And he's like, they're always going to be
a door we open to all these things. And so especially when, I didn't know, I wasn't aware I was this capable, even throughout high school, college. I just had like the creepiest things happen. But I'm actually, like you said, like, I'm really happy that it happened. Like all the demonic kind of experiences that I had, the sleep paralysis. If I didn't go through that, I never would have actually found my gifts or really understood it, because it started all really spooky. It was never like glorious to me until my grandma died, and then she showed me the beauty in death. But everything else was super scary, and I didn't even want to sleep at nights for like weeks on end. And but yeah, like, it's spiritual protection is like what it comes down to.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes it's like, sometimes I feel like no matter, like, I do get lazy with like putting protections up sometimes when I go places. So it may be my fault, but it's like, sometimes I feel like no matter if I protect myself or not, sometimes stuff still is just like bugging me.
Yeah.
And
I feel the same. I mean, I definitely could probably like practice them more, but in the beginning I was very adamant about it. But now I feel like when you develop your gifts more, it kind of comes with you, the protection. But yeah, I'm with you.
yeah, because that's like when I went to Lake Shawnee, I put protections up, went in that, and the whole area is so haunted. It's like, but then I left to go find a flashlight to go buy one from this gas station / restaurant, because it's like this little town. Yeah. And I went back in and didn't do it again. And I'm like, maybe that's where I messed up. I don't know, because something totally jumped me there. And it's like, I think I deleted it. My phone messed up the other day, like 2 days ago. I lost everything. So I can probably go back and get it off TikTok. The whole TikTok live stream I did there, when I'm talking, you can hear this man talking behind me, and he's like, I'm evil. Like, just.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The whole time.
I know. I've actually been afraid to get those tools that you use where you can hear them, because I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Oh wait, did I freeze on you? Can you see me?
No, I think my internet messed up.
Oh,
sorry.
No, you're good.
Hey, Steven. Hey, Hensley. Hey, Doris. But yeah, I think it was probably my fault. I get lazy with it because I'm like, if they follow me home, I'll just see what they want because I don't care.
What kind of things do you do when you're doing spiritual protection? I'm kind of curious what other people do.
I usually meditate or just like put up like a light, just put like a light up. But what are you doing? I'm so distracted all the time. Sorry. We just got a puppy 2 days ago, so and this puppy's like 15 pounds.
Puppy!
Yeah, she's huge.
It's all Pyrenees.
Gosh, you're so cute.
But yeah, I usually just meditate or just say that, like I just use my voice and I'm like, nothing's gonna mess with me. I'm protected. Put my light up. Just
Yeah. I just like verbalized in my head, or like wear a certain crystal on me that I feel like I need for the day if it's like that.
I need to up my crystal game. I have several, but it's like
I like them as jewelry, like earrings and rings. I'll just wear them so they're always with me.
That's a goat, not a puppy, Stephen. That is a puppy. But I do have a goat due in 2 days. So
you have goats over there?
Oh my gosh, I have dairy goats and we just got another Pyrenees puppy. I needed another dog like I need a hole in my head. I homeschool and then I talk to ghosts. So that's about what I do. But I'm always busy. But yeah, I don't know. I think
we live in two very different environments.
Yes.
And this is our kitty.
That's Murder Paws, and I swear he's half alien.
What is it? A cat?
Yes, he's mean. We've had him. He was a rescue. I raised the babies, him and his siblings, from the time they were a week old, and he hates everybody. You try to touch him, he's like,
cat.
He's a brat. But anyways, hey, Sweetly Morbid, how are you? I know I'm probably blurry too because my internet sucks, and I'm sorry if I am. But anyways, so let's talk past lives. Do you use decks or do you just use your just what you pick up on when you do past lives?
Not in past lives. I don't need decks for past lives. If I'm doing something for like love or career specific, sometimes I'll whip out the deck to get some more clarification. But no, past lives are kind of, to me, it feels like a whole different channel when I'm doing a past life versus like connecting to just your spirit guide reading. Because you know how if you were to do a past life regression and you're like laying down, going through it and speaking out loud yourself and you're walking yourself through the past life, I basically do that for you. So I'm like speaking to that version of yourself. They're showing me all the visions. They're showing me the way you died or where your hometown was, your village, your name, things like that. So to me, it's way different than talking to a spirit guide.
Yes. I need to work on doing that.
My puppy.
Well, for me, I couldn't do
one time. It was crazy for myself.
I couldn't do past lives for anyone but myself for the first year and a half of like really tapping into my gifts. And I was like, maybe it's just not like a part of my gifts. And then like, I feel like I unlocked it and it was just something that just came to me. So I started doing it more and I was like, oh, this is like legit. And yeah, I just feel like it matters like the process or the steps you're going and you're awakening. Like, I could not do this before. People would ask me all the time and I was like, no, I don't offer that. I don't know how. And now it's like my favorite freaking thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I was meditating one day and I'm like, because I had a reading done from someone a couple of years ago. And he said that he saw me as someone doing last rites over people like a long time ago, like this man. So I thought that's what I was going to pick up on. So I'm meditating, doing this past life thing. And I see something completely different. And it was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with it, but I wasn't ready for it. You know what I mean? And I tell people, I'm like, you're not going to be like a princess. And it's probably going to be something you don't want to hear.
I think yesterday's reading that I had with a client was the first one where it was actually like, they showed me a lot of like, a lot of good that they did in their past lives and carried in. This person, it was kind of crazy. I still need to make a TikTok on it. They had a past life as a Tasmanian devil, like the animal. They started as an animal, and I was like, a Tasmanian devil? That's so random. I started laughing. I was like, that's kind of funny. And then their next life, they were just like a little girl, but she was a little more like, not wealthy, but lived the most happy life with her mom being in the kitchen. Like literally just all her memories were with my mom in the kitchen and just like showing them so much love and gratitude versus like a lot of other readings I do are pretty intense where it's like, hey, you got shot to death at 10 years old or you killed someone, or things that were like really heavy. Your village burnt on fire. Everyone you loved died in front of you. Like really intense, heavy stuff. Yesterday was the first one. I was like, oh my god, there's good stuff out there. It was really like light and lovely, really.
Right. I know. I think I'm gonna. How did you just like start? Did you meditate on it before you did, or you just did it and it just happened? Like when you started doing the past.
You know what triggered my awakening of looking into past lives? I finished that book, Many Lives, Many Masters, and while I was reading that book, I started getting so many past life revelations for myself. I just started trying it on other people, and then I think it was pretty recent, like 2 months ago. And then I launched it on my website, and now it's just like probably my best offer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know when I did the one where I was like literally just seeing these images of me as a 1.5, 2-year-old wearing nothing but a diaper, and the parents were like on drugs, and the dad ended up killing me. Like he shook me. But I've never liked anything on my face. Like, so when the mask mandate happened, like that really bothered me because I just don't like it because like I feel like I'm smothering. I don't like blankets spinning near my face, pillows,
suffocation.
But I wasn't expecting to see that, and I'm like, bingo, maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
it puts in perspective your fears, your current fears that you have, and stuff like that. Like, I think a big reason why I also am able to tune into this stuff is I don't know if you ever watched my Salem witch trials story, but I basically found out exactly who I was during that time, and I found my house address and my name and my husband and my kids' names and everything. And so I was like, if I can do this for myself, I was like, there's no way I can't do this for other people. I was like, I got crazy details from that. But yeah, I picked up on about 5 of my past lives, and from what I understand, this is the first one where I'm actually a healer. So it's kind of intense to finally be in different shoes because I did not so great things for most of my past lives.
Yes, I saw that one. So,
yeah.
So does that mean, okay, I have a question about that, if you don't care. So does that mean that, because I know you said you were friends with some of the not so great people, does that mean that you were or are reptilian or have any of that DNA in you? Like
I don't feel I have it in me at all because I don't know. It's never resonated with me, and I don't like them that much.
Right.
I think I was just allies with them.
Okay, just known by association or something.
Yeah, I've never gotten any download that I was reptilian. I started questioning it when I had these like people in my life. Like I said, like I was friends with Epstein and stuff, and so I was like, wow, like I've had a lot of reptilian friends. I was part of the industry. I've never gotten a download that I was or are reptilian, but maybe I didn't unlock that part yet. Who knows? But all I know is I'm doing as much good as I can in this life. So we're not even touching that stuff. But I am Lumerian. I know that for sure. I'm a Lumerian and also Pleiadian. So I come from like 2 different.
So can you pick up on other people too, like if they are or not?
Yeah, like in past lives, it's not always earthly past lives. I'll pick up on, people are Arcturian or Pleiadian, Syrian. It just really depends which life they want me to know.
See, I've always had this big fear kind of ETs, but like my very first experience, I was probably 5. And it was with a UFO. Like I saw it. It landed, like it literally landed. We lived on this mountain in a county pretty far from here. And it literally went down. I saw this light come up from it. And a few days later, I went over that hill and the ground was even like charred where it was. It was so wild. And it's one of those things like nobody's going to believe me if I tell them probably. So I'll just keep it to myself. But then I had an experience here. I think it was in December or January. And I saw 2 of them. And all I kept hearing in my head was, it's an alien, it's an alien. And it scared me though. It was not like friendly. It didn't want to
feel good. Yeah.
Right. But it finally left. It took me it seemed like forever. It was probably 10 minutes to get it to I'm like, you got to go. But I was so scared that I was like, what do I do?
I think, all the videos that you make and all the proof that you see too, it's like, it's not all light. Like even, the aliens that I communicate with are very much like humanitarian, life-changing, here to help us, but they're not all like that. And there are other beings who are not as don't have as good as intentions as other ET species, just like humans. Like we're not all we don't all have good intentions, so it totally exists. And I think like some people are terrified of aliens, but the connections I have are with the good kind of aliens. So I think it depends like which one connected to you and your experience.
Right. Like I think I'm good now. Like I'm okay as long as the mean ones don't come back. Like I don't want them to, you know what I mean? Like I'm fine with them. But I just,
well, and now you know you have that protection where they can't even mess with you.
I didn't hear what you said like when you first started talking because my thing went out again. So I kind of missed what you said. I'm sorry.
What did you hear last?
You said something about your videos and then mine cut out. So.
Oh, like the videos I connect with when I talk about them, my ETs are really like humanitarian and here to really help Earth, the ones that I communicate with. But they literally mentioned in one of my sessions, they were like, we're not all good. And some of us, like some of the ET species didn't even want to come down to help because they have absolutely no faith in Earth. Like they're like, you guys are doomed. Kind of like it really is like the movies where they're like, they don't stand a chance. But then these ETs who are here helping are like, no, like we believe that there's a chance they can get better from here. So that's why I keep being so honest about everything I'm channeling on my TikTok.
Right. And I think that's awesome because so many people don't do that.
People are getting so offended too. I'm like, dude, you know what?
Yes. Those days need to be done with. Like if you don't like it, scroll on by, you know what I mean? Like don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know.
Like there were times I would get messages like hate message and on my TikTok messages and I'm like, or on email and I'm like, stop.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a pretty good deflection to it now. I kind of laugh at it, but
yeah, I know.
People can be ruthless. Hey, you think TikTok comments are bad? YouTube is even worse, I think.
See, I haven't gotten too many bad ones on YouTube, but TikTok, I'll get people like messaging me and they'll message me like quotes from the Bible, and be like, this is what you need to do so you don't burn in hell. And I'm like, me and God are good. Like we're fine.
Yeah, like we're all right.
Yeah, we're good.
I know. Some people will comment like, you need to repent, and I'm like, but I literally talk to God every day. So
right. Yeah.
One time I was like, I don't know what God you talk to because he sounds like a real dick. My God is so nice.
Right.
I didn't mean to cuss.
You're bad. Yeah. People, I don't know. It's like I grew up going to church. My grandma always had me in church until I was in my like early 20s. And
yeah,
I've been there. I've seen people talk in tongues and fall on the floor and lay hands on people, but it's wrong when I help a spirit cross over. I don't get it.
Jesus was literally a psychic medium, like
right. It gave people visions and dreams and like yeah.
Like when I do a session with someone in person when they're doing Reiki, so they're laying down on the table, I literally get on my hands and knees and like I place my hands on their feet. I'm like, this is Jesus work. Like this is not evil. This is not devilish. I'm really like spreading as much light as I can because y'all need it.
And and people, I think a lot of people they're only going to see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear, because it's like when the Bible speaks of like Daniel in the lion's den, it doesn't say he was a lion, he was half lion, half human. Like he's a cryptid. Come on, Esau was a cryptid. She was a Bigfoot. I mean, you know what I mean? Like they just don't look at it that way. But
there's a lot that's open to interpretation.
Yes,
that's for sure.
Yes.
Whew, my kid is wild. Hey Connor, what's up? Hey Cassie. So do you think that if somebody has an experience with an ET, that means that they have like that protection from them, or that they have like some kind of connection with them? Or is it just you?
I think you only have ET experiences if your soul kind of signed up for that kind of connection. Because not everyone's gonna have the same experience, and like some people who are even spiritual and identify with all of these things, psychic medium, have never communicated with ETs. So I think it's just a matter of like, one, if you're willing to open up that channel, and two, if it feels good for you, of course, like trust your gut if they feel safe, just like any entity who's coming to communicate. I wouldn't even let in someone who was here and passed over that was like your grandpa if he was like a bad person and I didn't like it. So it's the same thing. But no, I think it's like the select few were kind of picked to communicate with ET so we could help relay messages.
Quit, get the dog over there. So I don't know, because it makes me wonder what, like, did they want something from me, or do they want to take me back somewhere? You know what I mean? Like, what did they want? I still don't know, because I really wasn't trying to I don't know. The ones I saw freaked me out, but the experience I had when I was little wasn't scary.
Yeah, I think there's definitely messages within it. I think especially recently they are trying to tap into a lot of people. Like I have a lot of clients coming to me specifically like, hey, I think I have an ET trying to talk to me, but I don't know how to talk to them. And I'll just like tune in for them and be like, okay, well, this is exactly what they're trying to say to you. But yeah, I do believe they come with pretty strong messages when they try to communicate, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah. I kind of want them to kind of just hang out with everybody too, in a way. Like some of them, you know, just.
Me too. Yeah. They're gonna be really, as much as like a lot of us want that, they know they can't, because it'll cause more destruction. That'll cause more people to die than they want.
I mean, but we saw people fighting to the death over toilet paper a few years ago. So, I mean, people's going to take each other out if that's their behavior, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the ETs that are here to help are trying to take as much precaution as they can to show themselves. So that way we're not like literally trying to fight off a war in the sky that doesn't exist that we just made up.
So do you think that like they will like you channeled one of them on your TikTok and you were talking about like publicly, like you think they're going to actually be known publicly soon?
Yeah, I could see them revealing themselves physically soon, or at least leaving more of like they're already starting to do it. If you think about all these new ancient civilizations we've just discovered recently and all these it's because we've transitioned into a different Earth. So we're unlocking pretty much these. I think of it like a game. Like we unlocked a new feature where we can actually discover new stuff that we couldn't see before because we're in this 5D but also 3D world now. So I think they'll leave hints like this, like we might find an alien spaceship and be like, whoa, maybe they won't show them physical selves, but they'll leave a part of the ship back where we have to like investigate it. But I'm really hoping that they do this where the public can more see it instead of it hiding from us like the government has for our whole life.
Right. And even when the government did declass some of the stuff, they're still only going to declass what they want us to know. They're not going to tell us everything. Yeah,
I think the ETs are just about as ready as we are. They just want to make sure no lives don't have to be taken that really don't have to. Like they want to be.
So they just don't want people to like die, and they don't want to think it's like because of them. Like
because the government is trying and is going to be quite successful with killing off people, and so ETs showing themselves would only create even more violence. So they're going to be like pretty. They don't want us to die. They're the ones I connect with and talk to that are here are just so kind. Like they're humanitarian.
Do you ever see like now? I'm sure this happens because I know some people are like hybrid. So, but are there ever like just like straight up ETs like cloaked as humans that just kind of walk around?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one? Like, have you walked by one and be like, hey, I know who you are?
Yeah, I've seen one like literally walking down the street, and then I'll be like, whoa, and then that person just disappears, and you're like, where'd you go? They're literally all over. They're also like, I would consider myself an ET species as well. So like, we are part of this mission to help Earth. So yeah, I mean, it sounds all really crazy, but the name of my business is Let's Get Friggin' Weird. Not Let's
Yes, I love that. See, it doesn't sound crazy to me. I'm like, this is awesome. Like,
yeah, I'm like,
it's difficult sometimes to find people that you can talk about, you know, Fae or ETs and, you know, or Dog Man or something like that with it, and they're not judging you. They're like, oh yeah, I saw one too, you know?
Yeah. I think there's one thing saying like, hey, I'm a psychic medium and I understand spirituality, Oh wait, I think you're frozen again. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
What
Yeah,
is it?
I think it's just
I can
one
hear
thing
you.
saying like I believe in spirituality and psychic mediums, and then it's a whole other thing to be like, I talk to aliens. Like, I think that takes. It's still
I
pretty
know,
taboo.
I don't even know if you saw it, but it was like that reply back. It was like forever long. It was like 2 minutes long that I had to make to that one medium who commented on my post. And like she's like,
I
"That's
love
not
your
how it
response.
happens." But I'm like, I usually just ignore people like that. But I mean, don't go on there and try to sell yourself as a medium and then tell people that stuff doesn't happen like that, or that, you know.
You look like a Betty Crocker having. Man, she looked like I don't even want to say what I thought, but I liked your response.
Yeah. I went through her stuff ahead of time and looked at and I saw a lot of times in her comments on her own post, she was like, when people would ask about people passing away, she would say, no, an angel comes and takes their soul out of their body before the car accident. And that might happen. I don't know. I've never had that experience, but when I channel people, I feel what they went through, and I can feel the heart attack. I can feel the impact. I feel the choking on blood. I feel all that. So I don't believe that.
There are absolutely times. Yeah, there's absolutely times where an angel or whatever you want to call it, a being has lifted the soul before they felt impact. But most of everyone I've connected who died tragically, I've felt the impact they felt. And it's not something you remember and feel in spirit form. They don't care about the pain in spirit form. But their human body absolutely felt that. I feel a heart attack. I feel a gunshot in the head. Like, so I think that's kind of, that's why like being in this organized religion or however your view is, and then also being a medium can get tricky for some people because people are like the godly angelic feel of like, no, God takes you away. Where I've connected with spirits who were terrified they died because they overdosed and it was an accident. So it's like, I just think maybe it's just what she connects with, you know, we don't all have the same gifts.
That's exactly what I was trying to tell her, but she was like so adamant that it was her way or no way, and I'm like,
she's like, it's not how it works. I'm like, for you,
right? Like I gotta go check out Birdman, so I still haven't got any more. We got pictures of him though.
Yeah.
There's so many crazy things out here, and people need to open their mind to that. I mean, like I always tell people, somebody could tell me they saw a mermaid, rat, and Sasquatch, and I'm like, which way did they go? Like, I'm not going to invalidate other people's experiences or what they see, because that's when people don't talk about it and they close themselves off. You know, we can't do that.
I think honestly, like I never really have talked about a book that changed my life, but Many Lives, Many Masters opened up my whole world to that understanding of like, we just live in these different realities of understandings, and each person has certain soul growth where you can't unlock that level yet. So you can't understand it. So that's why people are literally like, psychic mediums are fake, because they just haven't understood it in their soul's growth, and they have a shit ton of learning to do. So it's like, I don't know. That book really, really helped open my mind to my gifts.
Yeah, I need to read that book. I've never even heard of it.
I never read a book so fast. I was like, oh my God. And I don't even really like to read.
I will hopefully have a book coming out soon. I haven't told anybody, but a couple people. I'm hoping by September it'll be my first one, and I'm super excited.
Can't wait to read it.
I know it's going to be all my some crazy stories in there. I've never really had it's like with me, it's never really always been just spirits. It's been always crazy stuff, like just.
Yeah, it's your purpose.
There was one time I was probably 9 or 10, and I was at my granny's house, and there was a bunch of us cousins. Our parents had went out, you know, whatever, and my granny always had this fan in her window. And I see the fan move, and it's dark. We're watching a scary movie. And I go open the door and look and see this man standing there. So I call 911, and I'm like, somebody's trying to break in the house. And he runs down the yard, and then he's gone. They never did find him. And I'm like, I just happened to think a few years ago, I'm like,
you're like, wait.
And I called 911.
It was a physical form.
I'm like, I wonder how many people do that.
I would call my parents, like, you know, I was like 13. Between 10 and 13, they would leave me home alone. They go on their date night or whatever. And I would call them just hysterically crying. Like, I feel like I'm going to die right now, because I was just haunted my whole life. I really felt like that was the proper word for my gifts. I felt so haunted. It felt so scary. I didn't like that I could see dead people. I hated it because it scared me. And I had no idea how to control it until, like I said, until my grandma died. And then she was like, hi, I'm here to like literally help you now. And I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. Funerals are tricky for me. Because like there's a lot of times I go there and I kind of like try to block it off, but there's sometimes I'm like, did she have this blue outfit with these cute little pants that match it? Because she's standing right there.
Yeah, you're like, she's not in the casket.
And they know that, and they know we see them. They're like, hey, you're like, and everybody's crying. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
It's pretty interesting going to a funeral as like the family medium too, because everyone's like looking at you like, are you picking up on anything? I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also still grieving, you know, like we can understand death and see death differently, but we still grieve.
Yeah. Yeah. I have several people in my family that are like super awesome and will go places with me. But there's a lot of my family that are strictly like, I go to church. I don't want nothing to do with you. You're doing devil's work. Stay away from us. You know, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's always going to be, it's never going to go away. Like there's always going to be those people in our world.
Yeah, that I don't know. It's crazy, but if that's what they choose. That's what they choose. I mean, I would have a conversation, like a sit down conversation with anybody, and discuss, you know, things. But some people don't want to do that. They want to just they're so stuck in their own ways that you can't make them see anything else.
Yeah, I actually have quite a few friends, like really close friends who are atheists. And I actually have probably some of the best conversations with them than anything, because they're a lot more open-minded than someone who's just like only in their religion and don't really think outside of their religion. But all my atheist friends are super, super open. And when we sit down and have conversations about it, I like to talk about like the scientific and mystical side of things, because I have this psychology background. And they're always just like, oh, they're like, it's a lot more different than what I just like assumed you did. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's like, I believe in literally everything. I'm like, there is no one thing for me. Like, I believe in every religion. I think there's truth to everything. And like, I don't know how much more open a person could get.
Yeah, there's I think so too. I mean, there's not just going to be one right way to everything, because other people believe that their way's the right way. You know how many?
Exactly.
I mean, there's just a lot out there. There's so much out there, so much to everything, and people are so
right. How about that?
Yes, everybody's right in their own way.
Exactly, it's your reality.
Yes. So I have a question, and I don't know if you do you ever like watch any like Mandela effects where people are saying that like the world ended in 2012 and we shifted and some people didn't. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm like pretty on board with all that stuff.
I saw some the other day and I'm like, dude, they can't say this stuff because you look it up now and it's gone. And I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and there are so many things that I remember, and I'm not crazy, and everybody's not going to have the same memory. Like, but what happened to it?
Yeah, I think 2012 was a massive year. Like, it really was. And if you look at the Mayan calendar on all of that, like, they were right on point. And when they say in these, you know, biblical or whatever stories that, like, the world died and there was a new world, it doesn't always mean physically the world blew up. Like, it's just like we are now. We entered a new consciousness. So it's like death and rebirth. I actually just got a tattoo of this, like, I don't know if you see, of this black rose.
That's awesome.
Because it's like literally death and rebirth, or it's like you can have the poison, but you can also have the beauty. And it's just like, that's the duality of what exists on Earth. And so, yeah, I think something massive happened in 2012, and I think something happened massively in 2020. I've never felt a shift like that in my entire life in 2020. And I mean, it's right in front of our eyes. Everybody started work from home. Everyone started a hobby. Everyone started their own business. Everyone woke up. Mostly everyone. I think you're frozen again. Hello? Did I lose you? Hello?
Okay, sorry, my screen froze again. I'm here. My internet sucks.
Anyways, yeah, something massive happened in 2020. Like, I can't, it's unexplainable, but the proof is in front of our eyes. I mean, nothing's ever been the same since.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And, even with like the last couple of years, I mean, I live out in a holler. Like we social distance anyways. I never let a lot of that even, like, it didn't even bother me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm born and raised in LA, so.
That I haven't watched a news channel or a weather channel in 3 or 4 years. If it rains, I'm just as surprised as everybody else outside. I'm like, oh, it's raining.
Good for you. That's how I personally live. But when I'm back home in LA, if I'm like staying at my parents' house or whatever it may be, it's like constant 24/7. The news is on. Doesn't matter what you're doing, it is playing in the background 24/7. Matrix loop, and you're just. Yes. I literally I moved with my parents for 6 months, like a little bit ago. And every time I would come out to wake up in the morning, I would take the remote, turn off the TV, walk away. They wouldn't even notice the TV was off. It was just like they had to put it on in the morning and have it playing in the background, like they were little robots. And so every day I would just start turning it off for them. And I was like, you need to stop doing this. Like, what are you feeding into? And my whole life, I hated the news. I would cry. I'm like, this is not my view of the world. It's not. And I would get so confused when my parents were like, you need to be aware of what's going on in the world. I'm like, what world is that? Because that's not my reality at all.
Yeah, I don't miss it at all. I can't stand it. No, that is not for me. I mean, like if I catch a glimpse of something that happens in the Supreme Court or something, it's going to be scrolling through TikTok because I don't watch it. TikTok, yeah. And things are distractions. Like I did see a bunch of controversy the other day over the Supreme Court's decisions, but I'm like, you know what? It's a distraction. What are they hiding from you? Don't worry about that. Like people get so mad about certain things and they're like, wanting to fight with each other and stop, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, even people think like I'm on board with like all the conspiracies. I'm like, I'm just on board with them because they actually match up with every vision I get. It's not that I read conspiracies. It's not that I watch conspiracy videos. I don't watch any of that. I literally just talk to my spirit guides and they tell me everything. And when someone says, hey, this sounds like this conspiracy, I'm like, oh, I guess it's true then because I literally just heard it from a dead person.
But a lot of it is stuff you can just kind of figure out if you're just thinking and you're able to think without all of the stuff that you've seen on TV and all of it. Like when you can think clearly and just think about something, it makes sense. Like some of it just makes a lot of sense.
That's why meditation is.
Yes. I love meditating.
Me too. I love Reiki.
My little one used to do like she did it like for a little while, like because like I would work with her with it, and she's decent, but she's like so hyper. She's just kind of like I'm over it after like 10 minutes. But yeah,
well, I did a session for like a 10-year-old kid not too long ago because I worked with his mom pretty often, and she was like, yeah, my son, he struggles a little bit in school with like ADHD or whatever it may be, and I'm like, all right, let's see if we can do anything. And he went straight into a past life regression. I don't even know how to lead people in past life regressions. I just do it for you. That's what my past life offer is. You don't do it. I do it. And so this kid just started taking himself through his own past life. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't say this is ADD. I think he just literally has a gift.
Yes.
They always say he talks about seeing people in one room. He doesn't want to go in there because he's scared of like, he sees a grandpa figure or whatever. And I'm like, he's just a medium. Like, he's just learning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. If we don't limit ourselves, we can do anything.
I know. And these kids are smart, man. These kids know more than us.
Yeah. Mine is hyper. Like, she never sleeps. She's always been that way. Never wants to sleep. Like, she would never sleep.
I am the same. I think it kind of comes with the territory of being a natural channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she tries to block hers off sometimes though. She's like, if I'm just like filming somewhere and I'm like, knock on that window, and she'll be like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a lot of like stimulus for a kid.
Yeah, and I think it's so funny because there was one time, like I just recently got a couple months ago, got this K2 meter, and I guess if spirit touches it, it'll light up. So it was so funny. The first time I tried using it, this lady was like standing right beside him, and she's like, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching it. And it was so, I'm like, she's not going to touch it. But it's so funny because, no matter what equipment you use, or, what you're doing, if they don't want to use it, they're not going to.
Yeah. No, and it's fine too. I haven't used any like equipment like that. I've actually been like hesitant to buy that equipment because I'm like, I don't even know if there's more stuff that I could pick up on than I already do.
Yes.
Even when people talk about like psychedelic experiences, I'm like, I already see that sober, guys. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if I want to dive into that.
Yeah. There's a lot of I don't know. I think for me personally, like if I have a few drinks, it kind of dulls my ability to focus more on them. So they're still around, but it's like I don't pick up on them as much. And so I usually don't like. Sometimes I'll have a margarita. Depends on the day, but
I think the relationship with alcohol and being a medium, it's interesting. I think there's it's not like it shuts off your gifts, but I think it opens doors to different things that maybe you try to protect yourself from, and
then you're not paying attention too much, and
they're like sneak in.
You're like, yeah, come on, let's have a dance. And then,
process.
Then the next
it's
day,
all a learning process.
It's like meeting somebody at the bar, and the next day you're like, how'd you get here? You let me in last. Oh,
yeah. Instead of a person, it's a ghost in your bed.
Yeah. I've met some really cool ghosts though. Like I've met so many cool ones that I would have loved to have known. Like went out and had fun.
Yeah.
I've met some new ones too.
Some really rad ones that were just like, I'm like, I would just sit and have a drink with you. Like, you're cool. Yeah. I had one of my favorite ones. She came in, she was about my age. And her friend who was my age came to me. And I was like, I've never met any of these people, of course. And I was like, okay, hear me out. The first thing she just said was, what up, bitch? And started twerking. And I was like, okay, are you?
That's awesome.
Are you resonating with this? She's like, that's my best friend. And it was like her best friend who's 23 years old. Like, of course she like entered that way. She was like, what up?
That's awesome.
I'm like, yeah, we can be friends.
So I've got a question for you, and I just want your opinion on this. So usually, when somebody's sick and they pass away, when I connect with them, they're fine. They're like, let them know that I'm okay now. I'm not like that. But have you ever connected with somebody that, like, say, either passed away if they were drinking too much or had an accident or an overdose, but still acted like that? Because I've had that experience, and I don't know. Like, I'm like, why are they showing me that? Like, they still act that way. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it's super individualistic because I've had ones that were like a sudden death, unplanned type of thing, or a secondhand death, and they were still really okay and accepting. But I think that's just where their soul was at. Versus I've had my own personal friend who passed from accidental overdose, and when he connected with me, he was really confused on the other side. He was like, how did I get here? I didn't plan on dying. And that's rare for me to connect with a spirit like that. Another situation was I was connecting with a client. She lost her brother to suicide, and his soul was kind of stuck. And this is where I believe this purgatory comes from in the Bible, where he was kind of stuck, still really latched onto earthly matters and earthly things because there was so much depression and grief that he was still feeling in his soul, and also his family was still holding on to. So 6 months later, as his family started to heal and really start focusing on healing from losing their brother and son, I connected with the same spirit 6 months later, and he was completely crossed over, and it was like a new soul. And so I think it just takes time. Like we learn lessons on earth, you have to learn lessons in the spirit world, and we can help spirits do this. If we feel there's an entity that's here that's not their highest self, I just say like, hey, you're not welcome in my energy, but you need to go find that light over there, and like you can push them towards the light. And so it's at the same time like we're still helping each other, and I feel our healing of grief here on earth massively plays a role on their transitioning on the other side.
Yeah, because I did some readings. It was like in October last year. I went to an asylum, and they had this big event, and I was there doing readings all day long. And I connected with this one girl wanted to connect with her friend. She passed away in a drunk driving accident. And I didn't get any kind of weird vibes from her at all from the lady who passed away. She seemed like she gave her messages. She was talking, she was fine. But then as I'm going home that night after I've done 20 more readings or whatever, I'm driving and it's 2.5 hours from home. It's dark outside. My daughter's in the back seat and my mom was in the front seat and she's like, somebody just touched my arm. And I look over and here's that same girl and she's acting drunk. And she was like hot. She was crazy laughing and grabbed my steering wheel, tried to wreck me. Luckily, there was a rest stop right there, right there. And I pull off and I open my door and I'm telling her to get out of the car. I'm like, you got to go. And there's another car parked beside me and this woman's got the passenger door open. She's smoking a cigarette and she's going she's nobody there. I'm nuts. And I'm like, get out of my car. You're not allowed to be in here. Like I was screaming because it scared me so bad. If I had not had my other hand on the other side of the wheel, we probably would have crashed. But I don't know why. What? I don't even know why she did that. Like I didn't see her again all day. And then she just pops up in my car. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think that sucks that she came back and was like, surprise.
And she was laughing hysterically. Like she was just thought it was the funniest thing ever.
To me, that just shows like her soul's still vibrating at that level where she hasn't learned her soul's growth. So so a lot of us will reincarnate really quickly, but a lot of us will also stay on the other side and because we need to process what we just went through on Earth. Earth is the hardest place to be. It is not an easy place to live in, obviously, but also when you pass, you get a full life review of what you just experienced, what you did, everything, every feeling, every emotion. It's like, imagine sitting down on a big screen and being like, all right, let's watch the next 20, 60, 100 years, depending on how long you lived, and see everything that happened. Like, you can't just process from that so quickly. And so, it's all a really big, learning process on the other side, and we all just have to, that's why I believe we just help each other. By healing here, we're healing the other side as well.
I get all the wild ones. It's like I don't get just the regular ones. Right.
Yeah. You gotta put I
had a lady come follow me from a psychiatric hospital that had a personality disorder, and she was like telling me her name's Mary, then it was Margaret, then it was this and that, and then she comes running through my hallway naked, and I'm like it was crazy. Like I had crazy ones.
Which personality are you today? Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I in the beginning of my work, I did medium readings all the time, and I offered it full time. Now it's only on special requests. I don't even offer it on my website as a reading offer. I say, if you would like to, you can message me here, because it's just pretty intense on the body and pretty intense on the mind. I think after I went through one experience, I connected with a client who they lost their son and he shot himself in the head. And I was out for 4 days with this major migraine from his gunshot wound to the head. And I was like, I can't take this on anymore. This doesn't feel like my body can hold it. So I stopped essentially offering doing that for other people. Yeah. Unless they really want it, then I'll kind of tune in. But it's a lot to be a medium.
It is.
It's different from just being a psychic. It's very different.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it. I'll do private readings, but and sometimes, which my internet sucks, so I haven't done it lately. Sometimes I'll go live on TikTok every now and then and do some readings, but TikTok is I'm always afraid somebody's going to want me to connect with somebody that murdered 20 people, and I'm I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I know. People are people will say too, well, why didn't you stop this shooting from happening, or why didn't you stop this and this? I'm like, it doesn't work like that, dude.
That's not your job. It's not what we're here for.
Yeah. I'm not here to stop things from happening. I'm here to help people.
How jacked up though would it make everybody's timeline if we tried to prevent everything from happening that was?
We can't. Yeah. Nobody would learn their karmic lessons. We'd be stuck on Earth. We want to leave this place. The point is to not keep coming back here. I want to leave. I'm trying to be as good as a person as I can so I can get a vacation.
So, have you ever connected with any people? Are there any humanish people on the planets around us that you've connected with?
What do you mean human?
Are there humans on other planets that maybe they're hybrid but they look human?
Like ETs here? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
No, like some human-looking people on other planets.
Oh, honestly, I think some of like the starseed people look pretty humanish, but they look a little more alien. Like that's the only way I can explain it is like imagine like a half alien human where they have the fingers, they have the body, they're tall, they have the head, they have everything, just their skull's a little bigger and their fingers are maybe a little longer. To me, they look pretty human though. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not very like slimy and like, I don't know, like the movies maybe.
So are they, like, is there a bunch of them hanging out on like Mars or Saturn or anything like that? Like living?
I haven't. You know what? It's funny, and I actually think I just saw something about this, about the moon. I fully believe there's entities on the moon because there's no way I look up and talk to that moon every day and there's nothing there. Like, I would be very surprised if there's not entities on the moon. I feel like I connect with them on there. I don't know what they're called. I don't know what we would call them even. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I always grew up hearing people say something like when they were talking about the moon, there's the man in the moon. Like that came from somewhere, right? Like, I mean, these little sayings that we grow up with come from somewhere. But yeah, did you see the videos? I saw videos of little things jumping off the moon, and I'm like, they got it on video.
I don't think we could knock it. Like, we know that there's different dimensions and different planets and constellations where these things exist, and those seem a little maybe farther away than the planets we can just see. Maybe they've just kind of tried to shut us off to being like, they can't be that close. Like, we can see Venus, we can see Jupiter. Right. But I wouldn't knock it. Like, I would think so.
I mean, I don't think the moon is the distance they say it is. I think it's way closer. The sun's way closer. I mean, I don't think anybody can ever go by like what they say in a book, coming from certain specific people or industries to provide factual information. You kind of have to take what they say and do the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I truly feel like I communicate with things up there. I don't have a clear idea of what it is, but it seems really good and loving, and I love connecting with the moon itself. So I will sit outside and be the crazy lady just talking to the moon. Like, that is me every day. Like, so I really wouldn't put it past it that there's entities up there.
Oh yeah. I mean, and there's videos going around. Was it, I don't think it was the moon, but it was Mars. Did you, like, NASA put out that photo a couple months ago? And I only saw that because it was, I was scrolling through Twitter and there's a doorway and like stairs leading down into it, or it looked like a slope or stairs going down into it. And I'm like, There's a lot more than that, I'm sure.
I mean, we're literally on a floating rock in space right now. People take their lives way too seriously sometimes.
Yes, right? I'm like, just go have fun.
My favorite thing is, like, just zoom out. That's it. Just zoom out and watch a video of what Earth is right now in the sky, and you will feel like, wow, okay. Why am I paying taxes?
Right. Yes, exactly. To make everybody else rich. That's why. Right. Yeah, we're working hard so they can not have to. So do you think that and speaking in that sense, do you think that all of this kind of craziness that's going on now is going to kind of subside eventually, and everything's going to kind of be in harmony to a degree?
Yes, but I just made a video about this last night, but it's going to take a couple years, Earth years, so as we understand time.
You talk like I do when I talk to people. I'm like, well, in our time.
I'm like, it's going to be a little quicker in that realm, but yeah, okay, whatever. You get me. Yeah. From Earth years, I get in 10 to 15 years, we are going to be using this holistic medium psychics in hospitals, in healthcare, in schools. University systems will not look the same. Don't see taxes really existing anymore. Don't see credit mattering. And maybe that's why my whole life I was just like, don't get it. It's not clicking for me. I really don't understand it. I think it's just because I had this internal knowing of it's all good.
So what you're saying is I should get a credit card, max it out, and just be like, forget it. It's not going to be here. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you didn't hear it from me, but like, who cares?
Right.
No, but yeah, for like the next like about 7 years, it's gonna be pretty ugly because all this is gonna be dismantling. And like I said, these people who like capitalism are gonna put up a fight because it works for them, but it doesn't work for everybody else. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty gnarly. But there's a lot of beauty that's coming in 10 to 15 years. That's the world I want to live in. That's the world I want to raise my kids in, if I even decide to bring them in. So,
right. I feel like I'm gonna be too old to work by then. I'll be too old to work by the time this happens.
Good, you'll be retiring in this new beautiful world. It's even better.
I'm old. I kind of got into the game of using my abilities for doing bad, trying to do
I know it sounds
when I'm older.
Like 10 to 15 years sounds so far away, but think about like how many lifetimes you feel like you already lived in your lifespan right now.
True.
I feel like I've been 25 different people. So it'll just feel like a whole new chapter in the book. It won't feel like, oh, we had to wait all this time. It's just like it'll just feel like, okay, this is life now. Like hard work paying off. It's gonna be a lot more natural than people think. Literally, just enjoy it. But yeah, we're here for a massive shift. We didn't sign up for the easy life. This one's big.
Yeah. I think we've all known that for a long time. Like you can feel it. You just know. Like there's got to be something better than this, something more out there.
Yeah. It felt so egotistical as a kid. It felt really egotistical for me to think this, but I always just knew. I was like, there's something different about me. As a kid, I was really just like, I feel like I have magic powers. Like I would be like, when I go to sleep, I fly. And I'm like, I would tell my parents this. They're like, well, it's just a dream. And I'm like, no, but like I wake up and I feel like I can still fly. And there's like all these things that were so mystical and magical to me as a kid that I just felt like I just knew I was destined for something so much greater than what the world kind of always told me. And now it makes complete freaking sense.
Okay, that's crazy that you mentioned that. Like, so whenever you said you could fly as a kid, did you go places in your dreams?
It was always this. I mean, yeah, like of course I astral travel. I just don't think I had like any control over it. But I would always it was such a feeling of home when I would fly. I just felt like I was just in spirit realm, just like over my body. I can't even explain it, but I would have the same dream. I mean, every day of just me flying, and then I wake up so sad. I'm like, why can't I fly? I think I lost you.
Okay. Yeah, I froze again. But that's so crazy because I remember like whenever like it was around in the same time frame that I had like the UFO experience and we had this shed out back that had this organ and I would go out there and it would start playing by itself. Like crazy stuff would always happen around me. But when I would sleep at night, there were times like that I would try to get out of bed like in the middle of the night and my foot would go through the floor and it's like I was like not in this realm.
Yes.
And it's like, if I jumped off the bed, where am I going to go? So I would stay on the bed, but like I couldn't touch the floor. Like there was no floor.
I had the same feeling. Like I just went into another realm all the time as a kid. And that's why kids are so smart. Like your daughter, she knows things that we can't anymore because we're a little brainwashed. But,
yes.
But I mean, yeah, I think we just need to keep letting kids explore that magical side of them because that's really what's going to change our future. Because all these people in office, all these older generations, they're dying. They're not going to be here anymore. It's up to us, really.
Yes, exactly. We need to not dismiss their feelings. And even into adults. When there's adults that have experiences, like there was a time, or it was recent. I was connecting for somebody, and she's like, I really just don't feel like this person's around anymore. I don't feel anything. I don't hear anything. And then he tells me that he's like tapping on her shoulder and I can see, and I'm getting images of goosebumps and she's doing this. And I'm like, so did you get goosebumps on your arm the other day? And she's like, yeah, I don't know what. I'm like, you're getting signs. Did you? Yeah. And then like this person had a walker and I'm like, you might still hear her banging the door like with it. She's like, oh my God, she ran into it all the time. I heard it the other day, but you're still getting signs. We just get so busy that we miss them all the time. We miss things because we're so busy and distracted.
That's another thing of why I kind of stopped my medium readings so consistently was because I found people really looking for that aha moment because we all grew up watching Long Island medium or Tyler the
Mhm.
Hollywood medium, where it has to be this drastic, massive thing that they pull out of their pocket and they're like, how did you know I had this in my pocket? The magic is literally all around you every single
Mhm.
day. Your loved one could send you someone walking down the street who gives you a compliment or starts up a conversation with you on a bad day.
Mhm.
Your loved one can send you a dog that comes up and licks your face. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, they didn't pick up on the fact that, like, I have this bracelet from 25 years ago. That's not a real medium. It's like, okay, you're just shutting yourself off to a million other signs.
Right. Or everybody wants it to be just cardinals and seeing
Yeah.
or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people get signs all the time. I mean, almost all of them. If they ask for them, I tell them, I'm like, just sit down and say, hey, call on them. Tell them to come and talk to you. Hang out with
It's
them.
that easy.
Yes.
It's
Watch a
that
movie with
easy.
them. When we call them,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
there.
I don't feel them. They're not around. I'm like, really? Because they show me they're literally like knocking on your head like, hello.
Is the place you live in, like, is it haunted or anything?
I just moved into an apartment in Mexico, so I actually the vibes are good here. But my home back in Los Angeles, it feels very different.
Hmm.
I mean, I just moved in here, so
Yeah.
tell me what
No,
if you pick up stuff.
No, I just feel like there's an older lady with darker hair and it's curly, but she might be related. She may be related to you though, like just kind of.
It might be my my grandma when she was younger. She might be showing herself because she's always with me. But this is, I mean,
Okay.
I'm in like an old.
She looks like, to me, she looks like a grandma, and she's got a dress on. But yeah, that's what, and she's got curly hair.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
haunted, I think of like scary, so that's probably
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
She did have really like beautiful curly hair. And
Yeah.
Alicia, and I actually just got this hummingbird tattoo today for her.
Okay. Yeah. She's grandma.
Probably her.
It's so weird. Like sometimes when
she's just she's literally always around. Like I don't even think about it. I'm like, who could it be?
Yeah.
Cutest. She's my best friend.
What's weird is when like I'm like, like I'll see one, but they have like these like weird fluffy Grinch fingers, and then they have like these weird eyes, and I'm like, it's not human.
Yeah, this one's not human.
Like I did with that one shape-shifting guy, and I look back at the videos, and I'm like, why did I? In my videos, I'm like, well, you know what? Well, he turns into a snake and he slithers down the road, but I think he's still a human. He wasn't. But I'm like trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But
So Amber, it's right in front of your eyes.
we got to do an exorcism on him or something,
No, but I feel like where I'm at, I'm in La Paz, and so this is like an old Mexican, like a Mexico apartment. So there's probably a ton of grandmas here, to be honest. A ton of umbrellas just walking around.
Yes, yeah, I think it's definitely your grandma that I felt there. Yeah, she's sweet
that.
though. You all were close, right? Like,
dude, yeah. I don't go anywhere without my rosary. Her rosary is literally sitting right there. She died holding it in her hand, and I was gifted to it from the family. Every grandma I've had, when they die, I'm gifted the rosary that they hold. And this is before anyone knew I was medium. Isn't that funny?
That is so cool though.
It's the cutest.
I've never had a rosary, but I think they're beautiful.
Yeah, I like the symbolism of like the two that I have from my grandmas.
Did she speak a different language ever?
She's Spanish.
Okay, because I feel like she's like talking in a different language. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she's Mexican.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that she's talking to you. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, it's so funny though, because it's like when I go places, sometimes it's like I have to really try to block stuff too, because it's just everybody. You know what I mean? Like I can just like go looking through a chat.
Grocery stores are hard.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be like a random chat on YouTube or something, and I'm like, okay, like I'm just seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, what is going on? It's just all the time.
You know, it's hard for me when I'm getting a massage, and then the person who's massaging me, I'm like, Grandpa, Grandpa. I'm like, I know this is supposed to be relaxing for me, but I have a message.
Yes. I like the ones that they're they think they're hot stuff, like I'm the ladies' man, and I'm like, don't be hitting on me, you're dead,
I literally, yes, I've had spirits hit on me. And I know that sounds so weird, but I'm like, can you not?
Yes.
They'll keep their same personalities. It's cute. It's funny. I'll literally be like, hey, your friend is literally flirting with me. They're like, yeah, that sounds like him.
Yeah.
And then that one that was flirting with me, I connected with him 2 more times because his other friends wanted to communicate with him because he died pretty tragically. And they're like, oh, so she connected for one friend. We all want to do it. And every time I come back, he's like, oh, you can't get enough of me. I was like, this is not my choice.
See, I had this kind of like a group reading I did last year, and they wanted to connect with a lot of people, and I mean there was a bunch of them. But anyways, like, so the one man that was like coming through the most and just had so much to say, his wife wasn't with them at the time, so she's like, well, I'm gonna have her get a hold of you. So then it was like another group with different people, and then I would, ask him like, well, who's this guy? And I would describe what he looks like. And they'd be like, I don't know. And then like 10 minutes later, yeah, that's my husband, or this is my brother. And I'm like it felt so weird. I don't like that. Like, if
and people think we're like these play show puppet, like party
tricks. They were doing it on purpose. I got the feeling that they were like trying to like test me in a way. And I'm like,
I can't stand it. I'm like, we're not here to have secrets. This is an open forum.
Right?
Do you want your messages or not? Because if you're blocked off, I'm not giving you shit.
Yeah, it's exactly. You're fine.
Sorry, don't listen to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I don't know. But he didn't say that, like, he didn't give the same messages and talk about the same stuff he did with the other one. And she's like, well, why didn't he mention that? And I'm like, well, if they already told you he mentioned it, then don't worry about it, like.
Or it's funny where you're connecting with, I've connected with a grandfather who passed away, who is with his first wife who passed away as well, but his current wife is trying to connect. And I'm like, he's with his wife, so like they're happy. Like, I don't know how to tell you this, but like you'll see him too, but like he's with his other soulmate right now.
See, I've had that happen, and they're like, I'm like, well, he's showing me this other lady, and they're, together. I think they were married either at one time or they were married, and oh no, my grandma's still alive. I'm like, it must not be my grandpa. I'm like, no, this is your grandpa. Like, he's just with someone else.
Yeah, they're like, well, they were divorced a long time ago, and I was like, they were still soulmates. Like, they'll find each other on the other side, absolutely. So
yeah,
that's kind of funny.
That's hilarious.
He's cheating on you on the other side.
Spirit is so funny, though. They really are.
They just do whatever they want.
Yes, it's free will, just like we have here.
Well, yeah, go ahead. I'll just be suffering down here.
Yeah. I have had so much fun having you on here. This has been awesome.
Yeah, this was great. I'm glad we got to. It's nice talking to someone who gets it.
And I do have to. I don't know if like it was a glitch in like on my side or whatever, but like when my phone was messing up the first 2 times it did it, when it came back. Your face would be like white on one side, and it looked like it had like this bird shape to it one time, and the other time it looked alienish. Like I didn't say anything. I'm like, maybe it's just a glitch, but it didn't do it the last 2 times.
No, I like at this point, I fully believe I'm just an alien.
Yeah, because it was just like half of it, and it would like morph into you. It was so.
The more I keep tuning into it, they just keep telling me, they're like, "It's you. You're the alien." I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm glad that you're saying that. Yeah, because there's always these glitches too when I'm talking about the ET stuff. They're just like, meh.
Yeah.
I love that you saw it.
It was wild looking. But the one kind of looked like a bird shape in a way, like feathers. I don't know. But then the first one was like full on like alienish type and
like slick.
Yeah.
That's me. That's me under the skin.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that you can.
They're definitely looking out for you, and like you're their people. Like they got you.
Yeah,
I don't think if you ever needed them to like really like have your back or help you out, they'd be there. Absolutely.
There's 2 that I pick up on. Might be one of them that you're seeing, but they're two brothers, and they're like 18 feet tall. And if I need like major protection, like I'm talking like the sleep paralysis demons, like this kind of protection, or if anyone who makes me feel unsafe in the physical world too, like those two come in, and I've never felt safer in my life with those two.
That's awesome.
Yeah, then they're completely like blue avatar looking species. They're not.
That's so cool.
Yeah, those are my boys.
Like if I had to be an alien, I would want to be like the blue ones, like the shiny glittery skin, you know?
Honestly, watch the movie Avatar like as a tuned in awake person, and you're like, this is really accurate.
There's so many movies like that. So many that I can think back that I used
Hollywood knows everything.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. They're like way they make us think that we're like our technology is where it is because it's like new, but it's like they're way ahead of us. So they keep us in the dark.
Yeah, they do. They really, really do.
Keep us in the dark, keep us dumb.
Oh, I think I'm losing you. I think I lost you again. Okay, I might have to end this. I can't see you. Bye, thank you.
Okay. Can anybody hear me? My Wi-Fi completely went out, and it had to restart. So I'm sorry about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a great time. And Cassidy, thank you for being on here. I know you you probably had no idea what was going on, but thank you so much for being a guest. And you guys can go follow her at Let's Get Friggin' Weird on YouTube and on TikTok. I will link them down in the description. After this, I will link her channel, but she's amazing and she has some awesome TikToks. So you guys go follow her, and thank you all for watching. And I'm sorry about my Wi-Fi. It completely went out. So sorry, guys, but thank you all. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week. Bye, everyone.